Continuing our series of RTE is Telling Lies, which began in earnest in 2019 when they lied about Varadkar's response to his attempt to smear 4 whistleblowing doctors in Waterford. There's an article today, I'll get it out here on my phone, an article on RTE in relation to masks. Let's have a wee look at it now here. Yes, what RTE News on their Twitter says is a County Mayo man, this is the Twitter feed of RTE, a County Mayo man has been sentenced to 2 months in prison for failure to wear a face mask on a bus Éireann coach in Ballyhaunis on the 14th of July last. Then when you look at the article, you actually discover that he was sentenced to 2 months in prison, sure enough, and that he was not wearing a mask. Then you look at the actual RTE article on their website, which is considerably less dishonest than their Twitter. 2 months in prison for man over face mask offence. Now, face mask offence is different if you actually parse legal language. Face mask offence means that a face mask was in some way related to the actual offence. The man, Andy Heathman, that's what D well, it's that here. Get your exemptification. Get your exemptifications here. Yeah, it's D Wall. Has been referring to him as Andy Heathman. I think his name is Andy Heathman. And he was convicted in the district court down in Ballyhaunis. Or I don't think it was, I think it was Castlebar where the court's at. He was convicted of 2 offences. He was convicted of a breach of Section 6 of the 1994 Public Act and a breach of Section 24 of the 1994 Public Act. Section 6 is abusive and threatening behaviour in a public area, including a bus. A bus would qualify as a public area, as would a supermarket. And Section 24 is refusing to give your name to a guard when required to do so. You are legally obliged to give your name to a Garda if the Garda reasonably suspects that you may have committed an offence. So if you're just out walking in the street and a squad car pulls up beside you and says, "What's your name?" you're not obliged to give them your name. If you're walking in the street and a squad car pulls up beside you and says, "We have reason to believe that you have committed a breach of such and such a section of such and such an act," then you are obliged to give your name. But they're obliged to tell you the legislation that they suspect you have contravened. So there's a two-way thing here. The guards aren't entitled to just stop someone and ask their name for no reason. They have to have a reason to ask your name. But in this instance, it's quite obvious that the guard who apprehended Andy Heathman on the bus suspected that Mr. Heathman was in breach of Section 6 of the Public Order Act and also was in breach of the 1947 Act pertaining to masks. So, yeah. In any event, that's what Mr. Heathman was convicted of. And he got 2 months in prison for a public order offence, not giving your name to a guard. That's quite a severe sentence. Usually they give you like 2 weeks or something. Or they might just give a fine. But it was obvious that the judge didn't like him. And didn't like his attitude. Well, that's okay. A lot of people don't like him and don't like his attitude. I don't. And I'm an anti-masker. Meanwhile, over here in insane anti-masker land, last Saturday, somebody called the guards on me for not wearing a mask in the supermarket. The guards came down. They told me I hadn't been accused of committing an offence. The store didn't want me to leave. The store were fine at me because I'd got permission from them not to wear a mask. Previously, formally, I'd got permission not to wear a mask from the supermarket. And they escorted your man off the premises. So this goes to show, first of all, RTE tells lies. He was not convicted of not wearing a mask. He was convicted of a public order offence and refusing to give his name to a Garda. Those are legitimate offences. There's nothing tyrannical about those offences as such. He was convicted of what's called a breach of the peace, for acting the dick on a bus. Because according to the report, and according to the Garda's evidence, which I'd trust, I would be happy to accept the Garda's evidence, he put the mask in his head. Well, that's an idiot, for fuck's sake. That's somebody who's farting round. I've travelled many times on public transport just to get the bus up and down the road here. I got the Dart once. Nobody has said anything to me about wearing a mask. Nobody's approached me. The bus drivers have let me on. They haven't said a word. But he gets, he puts a mask on his head. So he's making a laugh. He's being a smart arse. Of course, nobody's going to fucking appreciate that. On other news, I was in the supermarket today. My usual one in Sutton. Very good supermarket, very clean, great selection of stuff. Actually, it's really good fresh food there. The fresh food there is really good. And very nice, patient, long-suffering staff. And I went in to do my shopping, and the staff are still laughing about last Saturday. They're still laughing about last Saturday. I mean, they're still saying, who's that dick who called the guards on you? I know, I said, But anyway, I saw a couple in late middle age. They looked in their late 60s, going round the fruit and veg, not wearing masks. And, it's not like Tesco Clare Hall, which actually has a majority of human beings down there in Clare Hall. No. This is Sutton we're talking about. This is RTE Heartland. So I saw this couple not wearing masks, strolling around the fruit and veg. And me being me, I had to go up to them and say, "Excuse me, may I ask why you're not wearing a mask?" "Oh, my goodness," they said. "Oh, no, we're terribly sorry, we forgot." And they reached into their pockets and took out their masks. "Oh, no," I said, "I'm sorry." "No, look," I said, I thought yous had taken the red pill and were wearing the black glasses." "I know," I said, "don't put on the masks." "Oh, you have to." I said, "I'm not." "Oh, well, that's your choice." "Thank you." I said, "Please choose not to. Choose not. Say no. Just say no." That was what Reagan said in the 80s. Just say no. No, they put the masks on me in my big fucking mouth. Oh, I should have kept my fucking trap shut and let them go round the supermarket without masks and see that nobody would give them any, didn't wear a mask and nothing happened. There I am, I sent that letter to the guards at the start of August, and, I got a lot of support from it, but the odd normie, an NPC, posted in my Twitter, "You're not protecting yourself, you're also protecting your parents." Nothing happened. My parents are still here. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Jesus. But... I was choked with my big fucking mouth speaking out to those people. I met another person. And, I was chatting with her. She said, "Stand back." Oh, I said, "Are you paranoid about masks?" "No," she said, "you just have really, really bad breath." "Oh, sorry." I said, "Yeah." Well, I said, I can't knock that one. I said, "That's my mask exemption, you see." Well, she was honest, But she was wearing a mask, so she could still smell my smelly breath through her mask. But I said, "That's a fucking good the thing is, isn't it?" "Maybe you should brush your teeth," she said. Maybe I said standing back is a good idea then. But I was, RTE tell lies. RTE tell lies. And when you look at the article, the RTE article, if you were to take it on its face, you would think that the man had been charged exclusively with not wearing a mask, whereas he was actually charged with public order and not giving his name to a Garda. And you have to dig into these articles, and what they do with RTE, it's clickbait, but it's also creating a tone and creating an impression which, when you then begin to dig into it, you realise is completely untrue. And here we are now at December. It's August, September, October, November, 5 months. It's now 5 months since the mask thing started. Nobody has given me any trouble for not wearing a mask. Although I think, listening to some of the comments I'm getting, it might be humane for me sometimes to wear a mask. But let's put that to one side for a sec. That leather mask that I wore in those stupid photographs, oh fuck, when I took it off my face, it stank. It was horrible. And also, it's an essence. Actually, that leather mask would probably be more effective than those pieces of shit that they sell in the shops. It probably would keep things out more, the leather mask would. But it's so. Here we are now in December, and they're all still going around SuperValu and Sutton wearing masks. Nearly every. Most days you don't see one exception to the mask thing except me. And if you're going to be an anti-masker, you have to box clever. And like your one Dee Webster or Dolores Webster or Dee Wall, she's a cretin. She's a terrible fucking idiot. She is. But also I saw another video yesterday in Brown Thomas in Dublin. Now Brown Thomas is this. I don't know how to describe Brown Thomas. Brown Thomas is this department store in Grafton Street. And it is for normies with slightly more pocket money. That is the best way I would describe Brown Thomas. Rich people, really rich people, do not shop in Brown Thomas. Really rich people either get like their clothes custom made for them, or really rich people buy their shit online and get it delivered. Really rich people aren't into the ego trip of going to these snooty shops to make themselves feel of a higher social status than they actually are. And that's the truth. Brown Thomas is a normie middle class store. It's not a rich person's shopping place. Rich people these days are not going into shops. This is why retail is collapsing, actually. Retail's fucked. Retail's in bad. It's bad karma for retail. And there's a video a woman made in Brown Thomas, I think a few days ago, in which she's saying she's going to call the guards and she's going to do this and do that, which is she's tet, and the staff in Brown Thomas were very polite to her, but they refused to serve her if she was not wearing a mask. Brown Thomas is a department store that sells department store things. It doesn't sell essential goods, so she wasn't there to buy her milk or her eggs or her bread, so they didn't have to serve her. Where a supermarket like my local one, my parents and I have to eat, so we go there. Tesco Clare Hall, people have to eat, although you won't get any hassle in Tesco Clare Hall. You won't. I'm going back there. I'm so much going back to Tesco Clare Hall, meeting people who are human. I mean that not joke. It was a really nice experience last week to go to Tesco Clare Hall and talk to the other heads out on the floor, where 50% of people weren't wearing masks, and chat to people. And in supermarkets in more working class Dublin places, everyone chats. People chat to you, and they don't look at you like you have 5 fucking heads when you chat with them. But the anti-maskers like this one in Brown Thomas or Dee Wall or Andy Heath, they're getting the sane ones a bad name. And RTE, these bastards in RTE and that worm Conor Gallagher in the Irish Times, they fucking latch on to that. They exploit these idiots. Like Dee Wall then gives out assways legal advice. Where the legal advice I'd give to people is, firstly, from a practical point of view, be polite. Don't look for trouble. You don't look for trouble, you won't get it. Most often. You will sometimes in places, but you can't, it's very rare. The people who are working in supermarkets and shops are not paid very well. Even in Brown Thomas, they're not paid very well. They're doing... What struck me about Brown Thomas in that video was that they were doing their best, I hate discourtesy to and harassment of shop staff. If I'm ever in a shop and a member of the shop staff is rude or abusive to me, and I don't find they are. It's a very, very, very long time since I've encountered rudeness in an Irish shop, honestly. But if they were rude, I'd just walk out. Don't spend your money. Nobody's forcing you to spend your money in a rude shop. There are other places to go to. My local supermarket, they're not rude. They're anything but. They're anything but in my local supermarket. The local shops in Hope are the same. They're dead on. Nobody's troubled me about not wearing a mask. Nobody's troubled me about not wearing a mask. So you get Diabol and Andy Heathman. And Andy Heathman's now in jail for 2 months. Good. A very happy Christmas to him in jail. I hope the porridge tastes well in there. I bet they make him watch it. The telly in his cell will be tuned onto RTE, and they'd shove an Irish Times under his door each morning. Although that won't be a problem, because he probably wouldn't be able to read it. The words would be beyond 2 syllables.